Ladies and gentlemen, it seems like after the tumultuous offseason that Zion Williamson had,
stories like this will fade into the twilight when you get back on the court.
It seems like we finally got some good news in regards to the former #1 overall pick.
Zion Williamson update. This is the first time we've seen him in a couple months.
Now we know that this is a topic of conversation that we have been covering for quite some time.
His rehab, we haven't seen him in a long time. This is a very good sign for the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson.
And I'm really excited to bring you guys this update and bring this full circle for us. So before we get to the content, in the event that you happen to be a fan of Madden, we're doing a huge giveaway on my Snapchat at FlightMikeSnap and on my Instagram at TheFlightMike. We're going to be dropping codes in the stories of both of those pages. And don't worry, I'm preparing a huge NBA 2K24 giveaway as well. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is finally back.
That's impossible!
But I'm gonna admit, the preseason is boring as shit. I mean, when the second stringers and third stringers come out, your boy does tend to fall asleep a little bit. But I found a way to make the preseason all the more interesting. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are back! Posting prize picks on the days that there are significant preseason games, starting from the Hall of Fame game all the way to the Super Bowl. Your boy is going to be making picks on his Instagram story. The picks are free. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram to get them. And if you haven't signed up for prize picks, right now, when you use my promo code microphone, you'll double your deposit up to $100. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsorship. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? I've been around for quite some time in regards to my basketball fandom. I remember when Greg Oden was considered to be the greatest center prospect since Shaquille O'Neal. I remember when Anthony Davis was the most transcendent prospect we've ever seen since LeBron James. I remember when Markelle Fultz was supposed to complete the process. And at the same time, I've seen some very strange things occur during my years as an NBA fan in regards to the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. Whether it's Ben Simmons being a shell of his former self like he is currently and him photoshopping workout images, or if it's Markelle Fultz quote unquote forgetting how to shoot once he enters the NBA. There's a lot of speculation as to what really happened to him, but what I'm trying to say is we've seen a lot of strange things happen in regards to the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And I would say Zion Williamson is without a doubt in the top 3. I think the craziest thing I've ever seen happen to a former #1 overall pick is what happened to Markelle Fultz, because that story was just bizarre. But in the case of Zion Williamson, coming out of Duke University, by the way, looking like this, a lot of people forget that Zion Williamson was incredibly lean during his lone season at Duke University, which caused many NBA analysts and scouts to dub him the greatest NBA prospect since LeBron James. And in everyone's defense, during the small sample size that we've seen of Zion, he plays very similarly to a young LeBron. No, I'm not saying that he's the next coming of LeBron James, but I can see the parallels that were drawn. The difference between a young LeBron James and Zion Williamson is LeBron was significantly more durable. As a matter of fact, a huge accolade of LeBron James throughout his career is how durable he was throughout his entire career. But to give you an idea of the roller coaster of a ride that we had with Zion Williamson, and that's before we even get to his baby mama drama, which we've made too much content on in the past, and I'm not repeating it in this video.
I promise I'm not repeating it in this video. No, stop looking at me like that. We're really not going to talk about
the craziness surrounding Mariah Mills and that whole situation. We've discussed it at length. We're done with it, I promise. But that aside, the moment Zion Williamson was selected with the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, we were very excited to see him in the Summer League. But the highlight we saw from the Summer League in 2019 is not what we wanted to see. What went viral wasn't a Zion Williamson dunk. As a matter of fact, Zion Williamson barely touched the floor. Instead, the viral moment we got in regards to Zion was this shot of Zion Williamson sitting down and already looking significantly overweight. This has been a storyline that has been following Zion Williamson since the moment moment he got into the NBA. It was the #1 cause for concern in regards to Zion Williamson. He's 6'7", he has LeBron James weight on a much smaller frame, and the concern was he was going to suffer a huge injury as a result of that, which he already has, whether it's the broken shoe incident in Duke University, the torn meniscus in his rookie year, and the injuries that he's been sustaining recently throughout his career. So the concerns were very valid. The Pelicans decided to hold out Zion until the middle of his rookie season. And then right when the Pelicans were starting to get into a groove, the pandemic hit. But fortunately, a huge cause for optimism was Zion Williamson looking like this at the pandemic. Quite literally looking like Batman with the mask on and the freaking muscles that he had. And then all of a sudden, once the bubble ended, the Pelicans had a very unfortunate ending to their season following the 8-game period where they played to try to get into the bubble. I don't know if you guys remember, the NBA tried to rig the Pelicans getting into the bubble so they could play against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the NBA playoffs because, well, Zion versus LeBron would have been great for ratings. Anthony Davis versus his former team that he demanded a trade from would have been great for ratings as well. Unfortunately, that wouldn't happen. Following the pandemic in 2020 to 2021, we finally saw a glimpse of Zion Williamson's potential. He played 61 games and averaged 27 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, off of 61% from the field. Clearly looked like he was worthy of the #1 overall pick. But during the 2021 to 2022 season at Media Day, this man puffed up like a balloon. We also found out that he wasn't going to play during the 2021 to 2022 season at all. We thought that we would see him at some point in the season, but he didn't play at all during the season. And all we would get is footage and photo after photo after photo after pregame warm-up dunk of Zion Williamson looking incredibly fat. There were some rumors that Zion even exceeded 300 pounds. Now, on one hand, I do want to come to the man's defense saying that whenever you have a broken foot, it's very difficult to stay in shape. But at the same time, you would think that there'd be some sort of diet in place to prevent this from getting out of hand. This became very meme-worthy. There was a Mountain Dew commercial that didn't do him any favors. And then right when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the New Orleans Pelicans decided to extend Zion Williamson, but in the contract included a fat clause, quite literally. Yes, according to league sources, Williamson's contract stipulates that he will have weigh-ins periodically throughout the entirety of his new deal. The sum of his weight and body fat percentage must be below 295. If it is not, the amount of guaranteed money in Williamson's contract can be reduced. So what originally was just a meme, and you could have even made excuses for the guy saying,
Oh, it was a bad camera angle.
became a real legitimate concern for the Pelicans once a fat clause was introduced. Fortunately, things have been looking better for Zion. He opened up recently in regards to his struggle with being overweight on Gil's Arena podcast about a month ago. Watch.
This is you? I'll be real. There are times when I will say that, man, that shit hard. It's hard, man. Like 20, 22, got a lot of money. You feel like all the money in the world, man. It is hard, but
And although I think some of the stuff he's saying is a little ridiculous,
like flexibility, band work, because I think it's those things that will be able to keep me on the court longer versus just losing a bunch of weight and then coming to play, not being able to maintain us. So just, shit. Ron got the blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to follow it, man.
I at least appreciate the fact that he's acknowledging the situation he's in.
I'm sitting on the sideline watching my teammates in certain games they lose, and I'm like, no, I know if I was out there, I can change the outcome of it. So whether people want to believe it or not, when I'm on the sideline, man, that hurt me more than anything.
It's also funny he was saying this in the midst of his baby mama drama, like saying stuff like, I'm at that point now because of certain things. I'm putting back the wisdom around me. I don't want to say older because they get defensive, but I'm putting people around me with wisdom, put me on game to certain things and just go from there. I mean, I'm really happy for Zion Williamson. It seems like people were really fat shaming this guy hard. You know, this guy hit a brand new low once Charles Barkley started giving him weight advice.
Like, I wish I could sit down with Zion and say, yo, man, you got so much talent, but you're going to have to lose some weight and get in shape because Unless you get in shape, you can't play basketball.
But the good news is, so far throughout the entire summer, we've been seeing photos of Zion Williamson looking very slim, whether it's from Gil's Arena podcast all the way to a shot that we got of him working out. I'm especially impressed by the photo of him gripping the basketball, but he looks really good, man, and he's been consistently looking good throughout the entire offseason. At the end of the day, I think I speak for everyone when I say we hope that Zion Williamson stays in shape and has a dominant season. But let me know in the comment section down below, do you think Zion finally figured it out, or do you think he's once again going to end up in a similar situation as he was prior, either injured or overweight? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.